All right, what's up, y'all? It's Wooly here. Today, I want to show you guys what I'm using for fire. It's going to be interesting. We're using precision for AoE. We're going to be running brawling, of course. Um, and then for single target, we are running might. I'm not a big fan of flurry. It just feels weird to me. So I would just prefer to stick with might for single target. Plus, I like to play might. But we want to squeeze the most we can out of AoE, and precision AoE is still superior in pretty much every way, and that's why we're going to be running brawling. And of course, might single target has been performing very well this episode, so I've chosen to stick with might. Now, let me just show you the loadout. We're going to be running Inferno. We're going to clip it with Fiery Weapon. They're both a 12-second cooldown. Vortex Trap, Wildfire, Whirling Dervish. Wildfire, think of it like Arc Lightning on Electric. They're both 3-second cooldowns. It's a good AoE. Um, it's a good AoE hit, and it's very quick. It gets you right. I would say it's probably quicker than Arc Lightning, maybe. I don't know, as far as getting you back into combat. But it performs very well, so that's why I've been using it. Wildfire, you go back to any of my fire DPS videos, it's a staple of my loadouts. It's just too good. Um, and then, like I said, we'll show you the single target afterwards. Now, obviously, this is going to require a lot of effort into both of your precision and your might augments. Um, so I just started using the precision, so these guys are not leveled up, right? But this is going to require you have two armories, one for AoE with precision, and then one for single target with might. Now you may be wondering how I do the proficiency mods and the generator mod. We'll discuss that, but first let's go ahead and take a look at the loadout. Um, like I said, precision AoE is still pretty superior for the most part, still quicker, hits hard, but arguably with might on single target, you can compete when it comes to boss damage, which is really where you're going to be using your single target. So let's take a look here. All right, so pretty straightforward. I don't want to waste too much time here at the sparring targets. I just want to show you guys my loadout and what I'm using. So I'm not going to tell you it's the best thing for you or anything like that. This is just my preference on how I'm choosing to play with fire since I've gone back to fire on this character here. Um, I'm enjoying it, and it's fun because I want to run precision, but I also want to run might, and I don't want to have to sacrifice one or the other. So I've chosen to do both, and like I said, it's working out pretty fun for me. Okay, so as far as the artifacts, let me show you because I'm going to be running the same thing um, on both my might and precision builds. I'm running the same exact artifact. So we have Quizlet, we have Transformation Card, we have Strategist Card. These are the bread and butter right here. Now Grim does still work. If you want to use Grim, by all means, but I think most people have agreed that Quizlet is probably the better option. So base it on your preference, really. I like Quizlet. I like everything that it offers, so I'm always going to choose Quizlet. Um, as far as the attack mods, of course, we're running Tumbling Master. That's a must-have, especially if you're going into something like Elite. Max damage in the hands. I am going to be running Penetrating Strikes here. Um, don't worry about that. That's when I was munitions. So you can put whatever you want in the legs. Like I always say, the leg mods are mostly useless. They'll give you something that'll give you a heal. That's really all the leg mod does, but they're not very significant. I'm running Berserker in the back. And then you could carry like a stack of tack mods for your neck if you want, and just break them down as you need to. But for me, since we don't have an OP neck this episode, I've chosen to get one, or I've chosen to get two. So I have one here for my precision build that's going to be Relentless Precision, and then I have another one here that's going to be for my might build, and this is Escalating Might. Okay. Now, as far as the affinity mods, I haven't settled on this yet. So the affinity mods here, I'm debating if I want to put one precision and one might, which I might do so I can get the 1% buff across the board. But for the most part, I've kind of settled into running full might in my generator mods. And of course, these affinity mods here, because I want to squeeze the most out of might to be as competitive as possible. Because when we're running full precision here, okay, weapon expert, critical attack chance, critical attack damage, precision, and then I put the rest into might and power here, so that I can really squeeze the most out of it with Inferno. Plus the artifacts, the buffs that come from those. And then I do also run Flex Soda on my precision build, although I really only pop a Flex Soda if I'm going into a high-end raid. Other than that, I don't really worry about it. If I'm just queuing an omnibus, I don't bother wasting my Flex Sodas. That's why I still have 99. I'll just pop a Might Soda since I'm going to be switching back and forth between them. So I've chosen to keep all my generator mods and everything focused on might for the time being. I know for sure I'm never going to change the 4 generator mods. The only thing I'm debating on is if I'm going to change the second mod here, affinity mod, to might. If I'm going to change one of those to, precision. That I'm not settled on, but you could really do whatever you want. If you want to run both Prec, if you want to run both might, or if you just want to run one Prec, one might to really take advantage of it. If you choose to run a loadout like this, which by the way, you can do this on any power. It's not unique to fire. You know what I mean? You can run brawling AoE, full Prec, and then have a might single target on any power. I'm also doing it on electric with Wooly. So it's neither here nor there. Now, I'm running Neo Venom. It's still one of the better supercharges you can get on most powers, even though it does have a slightly longer cooldown. It's still going to be very beneficial to you, okay? So, my preference, Neo Venom. You put whatever you want there. And then, of course, we're always going to be running Blast Adapter in the weapon, regardless of if we are might or precision, because at the very least, you want to get that tap, okay? So, I got to adjust my headset, sorry. Let's take a look at the single target here. Now, of course, we are going to be spec'd full might here, super powered, critical attack chance, critical attack damage, might and power, and then precision. So I still put 100 in precision, I put the rest in the health, but the reason I put the ones into precision is because we still are going to be utilizing our brawling in certain situations if we're on cooldown or something and we can't switch, which shouldn't be the case most of the time. Is one of those raids where a lot of ads just come out or something like that, and you don't really want to switch out of your boss loadout. You can utilize your brawling in those situations, right? Okay, so let me just show you guys the actual loadout, and then I'll show you the single target here. So we're going to be running Absorb Heat, because I'm not running Heat Vision. You could run Heat Vision here if you wanted, regardless of if you had Solar Amplifier or not. It's up to you, but I'm chosen to run Absorb Heat. There may be some situations where I take out Absorb Heat and put in Heat Vision if I'm going to be doing something like a really intense elite run and it requires that I'm not stuck in Absorb Heat. Situational, but 90% of the time, Absorb Heat. Overheat, of course, since this is single target, this is what we want to focus on. And then Wildfire is what I've chosen to go with here. Now, you can still use Spontaneous Combustion. Just know it's a 6-second cooldown, whereas Wildfire is a 3-second cooldown. so you may have to get a little crafty with how you do your rotation if you choose to do spontaneous combustion. Now, overall, and then of course we're running snuff out. So I will say this about spontaneous combustion: still one of my favorite powers in fire, and in some cases I do run it over wildfire. Um, for the most part, absorb heat is long enough in its casting that you can use spontaneous combustion over wildfire. They both hit very hard. The only difference is you will typically get a second hit out of spontaneous combustion here. So as long as you don't get interrupted out of absorb heat, so if you're running like the Superman ally for his passive, or you have empowered channeling mod on, which you shouldn't put that on your hands over max damage. There's other ways to do that, like the solar amplifier, get it maxed out if you're going to be using that. Then you don't have to worry about it, but then you probably wouldn't be running absorb heat. So your preference, just know that if you get interrupted, it might cost you a couple of seconds until you get cooled down. But hey, in those situations, that's why we have brawling AoE into our might build, so that we can, take advantage as best we can. Okay, snuff out, like I said, and then robot sidekick. We don't need anything else but a 4-power rotation here. And then, of course, we're going to be running Neo Venom, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at it. We're always going to start with overheat. Okay, so we're going to start with overheat. We're going to go to absorb heat, wildfire, snuff out, absorb heat, wildfire. Usually overheat is just about ready by then, so just hit it as soon as it comes up, regardless of where you're at in your rotation, and then snuff out. And really quickly, guys, make sure you're drinking water, stay hydrated. All right. So let me get over here, away from these guys. And we're going to start with our blast adapter. Let's look. And we do have escalating might on the neck right now. So once that gets going, we'll really start to see some decent numbers here. All right, so pretty straightforward. It's been keeping up in boss damage for the most part. You're probably not going to be the highest DPS in boss damage, but you're not going to be the last. You'll be up there. So this is a very good single target loadout for me, anyways. This is what I've been using. So, like I said, attack mods are pretty much the same. Max damage, tumbling master. I really need to change this, and then we're just keeping that on since it's OP piece. Same thing, berserk in the back, and then of course escalating might in the neck. Neo Venom in the head, and then that's it. The only difference here is, of course, I'm running the same artifacts. I'm putting Strat here, and then I am swapping it for Pied Piper's Flute. You don't have to swap. I just swap it, and then pop my super, because that's what it's for. Using the supercharge, have a 50% chance to do 15% of the damage as additional damage. Chance to do 10% chance to do 30% of the damage as additional damage, and then of course it goes on. So the higher this gets leveled, obviously mine's ready to break through at 159. I just need stuff for it. I feel like this is going to be a good substitute in place of Eye of Gemini when that nerf finally does happen. That's why I've chosen to work on this instead of EOG. But that remains to be seen. I still have a 200 Eye of Gemini on Wooly, so I'll let you know how that works out. But in the meantime, this is what I'm leveling up. This is what I'm going to be swapping. I'm going to swap for a strat card. I'm going to pop my super. I'm going to swap back to strat card. Pied Pipers should still be going at that point. You should still get the advantage of it as far as it being active, and then get back in a strat card. Because once you take off strat card, I believe it doesn't work the same as other artifacts when you swap. It goes away, so you need to get back into it as soon as possible. So there's no reason to keep this on in a full rotation. The only reason you would need to do that is if you are waiting for absorb heat, because when you have absorb heat going, it's very easy to swap. But of course, if you are doing something like this, not as quick, so you may need to do one rotation until you get to the finisher. So as long as you have a power that is going to be active for about 2-3 seconds, you can easily swap out. So I don't really swap on Brawling AoE. It's a little bit harder to do. And then, of course, I swap between these and these, right? But that's pretty much it, guys. This is just what I'm running. And I thought it was something that was pretty interesting, trying to go between both, because as far as the generator mods, we're not losing that much, and we'll compensate for it with sodas, right? We'll compensate for it with a flex or a nitro, bundled with a soda cola ultimate or a omega. So that's what I got for you today, guys. Just wanted to share with you what I'm doing. Other than that, I'll catch you next time. We'll be out. Stay frosty.